Shalom, shalom.
All right, all right. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome to back to the Fourth Principle Podcast. Today, I will be your host. The other brothers are sitting off camera, but we have some special guests in the studio today, which we would call Ishas and sisters, and a sister that we have also. And like I say, I'm Yazakar bin Adonai, and I would like for all the sisters to say who you are.
I'm sorry.
I'm starting. I'm Kia.
Najira.
It's yeah.
Zaya like fire.
Kane, all praises. And today we're going to ask the sisters some questions concerning basically the Hebrew paradigm that, a lot of us would say probably still in, which I'm still in. I'm still a Hebrew. That's not going to change. Actually, an Hebrew, let me get it right, Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Lewi. So that's what I understand myself to be. I don't know about these sisters up here, but they were in the same camp or Knesset or family structure that we were all in. So we're going to ask these sisters some questions about their experience in being a Hebrew and being in that in that space, and hopefully it could help some other sisters out there, and that's going through their emotions in this experience. And also, like I said, I got the brothers on the outside. They're sitting on the other side of the studio, and they may have some questions. So, just be with us, and we will continue on our journey. All right, y'all fine? Everybody's good?
You ready?
You're not gonna ask them questions. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, but okay. You just gonna have to say it.
I got you. Disclaimer: we're not here to bash anybody. We're talking about our personal experience.
Right.
Okay, yeah. No bashing. And it's not a bashing course. We're just getting their experience and how they looked at being in the Hebrew paradigm. And that's how they look at it. I'm gonna tell y'all like this. I had fun, and I will continue on having fun. No matter what the situation was, I'm gonna have fun. It's just that simple. Now, I'm just, that's just me. That's just me. That's just my experience. Now, everybody else has their own experience. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with the first question, and we're gonna start from here, going around answering them the same question, if y'all don't mind. Okay. All right. It says, briefly describe your experience. What was it like for you with other Hebrew Israelites?
Just other Hebrew Israelites?
Yeah, at first. Your first experience, right? When you first came in.
So prior to meeting Kazakia, Karem, my Ish, I had already had some experience with the Hebrew Israelite community by way of an aunt who I considered like a mother. So that experience was a little off-putting when she first started sharing what was happening with her. It was definitely a different type of, it wasn't something that I was interested in being a part of, like as far as with her. But this was all just her sharing her experience living in California. But she changed her name to Hazaka, and she married and went on to have children for a man who was a polygamous leader in the community. She was dealing with having second wives, and she had actually had adult children and went to have children for this man. She was really she had dove in, and she was doing that for at least 10 years. So her experience is different. I don't want to speak too much on her experience, but that was like my first time touching on the Hebrew Israelite community. When I met my Ish, he introduced it to me in a different light because at the time he had explained that he was a culture studies teacher. So there were things that I was already in tune with that he was like teaching classes on.
Right.
And so that was very attractive. Plus, at the time, he was breaking the Bible down to me in a way that I hadn't had in the past. Okay. So I had looked at it a lot differently, because in the past, I was definitely like, I ain't with that. I studied Islam. I actually took my Shahada when I was like 16 years old. So I was studying Islam. Had covered before, was making my own clothes, and had gone to Eids and participated, and was at 16 in the process of getting married to someone it was like being arranged and everything. So that was like my first experience with Islam. This same aunt that I was referring to ended up coming to get me around that age. I was a little young, but long story. And she took me to California, and then I kind of just disconnected from the Islamic community. So fast forward, when I met my Ish, I don't know, we really did connect right away with respect to that. I actually remember asking him, are you a Hebrew Israelite? And he was like, yeah. And I don't really know what made me do that. I'm pretty sure it was intuitive that made me ask him that. But I think he had asked me my name, and when I said my name, he kind of like a little sparkle in his eye, and I was like, got him. And then that's kind of how it continued. And like I said, he did introduce the Bible to me in a different way. So my initial experience was it was much more light and welcoming, and it tied into things that already resonated with me.
Okay.
So that was how it was for me in the beginning. So I'm not going to take up too much more time, because I know we'll get into it a little bit more.
Right. All right. Itia?
My experience of first coming in, I could say it was a bit rebellious. You can contest to that, because you know the situation. But we were coming from church, actually, and I was raised in church as well. So, of course, when you started listening to different brothers speak and things of that nature, I was like, oh no, I'm not. So it was like, I'm not doing this. And, you know, coming from a household where my mom sent us to Sunday school, morning service, and evening service, we was there every Sunday. So it was like, that's what I was rooted in. So I was like, I'm not doing this, and I'm going to continue to go to church. And of course, you said, okay.
Yep.
So it was like, fine. But then the nosy nature of me was like, what is he listening to? One day when he was listening to the elders, and I was like, now that makes a lot more sense to me. So the nosy part of me won over, so I decided to go to one of the Shabbats. And when I went in, I was like, I guess when I first started to go in, I was like, this is going to be crazy. I'm going to be running back out this door. But actually, it was very welcoming. Everybody greeted you. They hugged you like they knew you. And I didn't know anyone. So it was like, okay. So then when the Morays got up and started teaching, I was like, this makes a lot of sense. And we started on, I think it was Bereshit. So I was like,
I think when we first came in, yeah.
And
actually, it was after the Passover.
Right, and like Zaya said, a lot of the Bible was explained to me totally different than what I was used to growing up. You know, we did, Sunday school, and, they taught different things. But as the scriptures were broken down, I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense to me. So, I started just going and going and going. And then, met the sisters, became comfortable. So that was my first experience.
Okay. Nigeria?
Okay. So for me, my family is, half my family is Christian, the other half is Muslim. I felt like I didn't really fit in either place. So I was looking. So I've been watching people on like YouTube and stuff like that, just searching, like looking for something different. And I came upon COI. So when I got there, it was great. I mean, meeting everybody was great. I felt like I was connected to everybody that I spoke to, like within the first couple like Shabbats. It was good. Especially like both of y'all said, the way they broke down scriptures, it was a lot different than what you experience in church. So, I mean, I was all in. I was ready. Like, I felt like I had this new family. Like, I loved everybody. I couldn't wait to see y'all on Saturdays. It was amazing. And it stayed that way for a long time because, like I said, I was searching for something. And every week I felt like I was finding what I had been looking for like this whole time. So it was like all these questions that I had before, everything was just making so much more sense. And then when you start like changing your life and like following Torah and the different things we were doing, it made sense, and it kind of like it felt like it fit, like that's what I should have been doing the whole time. So my experience at the beginning was very positive. I know sometimes people come in because of someone, but for me, I came in on my own, so it was a little bit different. So I had a really positive experience at the beginning.
Okay. Kia?
Dun, dun, dun. Very similar to Zaya. I met my Ish and was definitely that person that, I'm not in the mic. Okay, can you hear me better? Mm-hmm. He was definitely that person for me that was sitting down, going over scriptures with me, going over it with my children. And this is prior to me ever coming to a service or anything. So we kind of started to build together.
Okay.
My first experience was a feast day. And I felt out of place because he gave me no guidelines. I walked in. Was it Passover?
Yes.
It was Passover. Everybody had white on. I had on all black. My kids had on Easter best. And I'm looking at everybody else like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable. I personally did not get the warm welcome of everybody coming to say, hey, how you doing? So I was kind of off in the cut. I remember the conversation we had. I saw Zaya, and I said, oh, my gosh, she is so beautiful. And he was like, she aight. I was just like, okay, maybe I crossed the line. I don't know what I said, but I probably left after 15 minutes, if that. Right. And I remember getting in the car. I called my mom. I said, Mom, I don't know what he is, but he's something. Because he was up there talking, and, I remember saying, I don't know what this is. He later told me, he said, I don't think this is going to work. So we didn't think we were going anywhere. Fast forward, we're still together. But that was my introduction.
Right. Okay. Well, that's all y'all experience seems it was pretty good to me. Seems like, now I would say this, coming in and trying to get that your first experience on a feast day is going to be tough because there's a lot going on feast days. I would recommend anybody don't come to your first. If you just coming in like that week, I'd be like, no, maybe you need to just keep coming to Shabbat, because feast days, if you're looking for to be integrated into the family, it's so much going on. You got the sisters making sure everybody's getting fed. So they're going to be doing their thing. They're not even going to be worried about you doing, coming in, this your first time or something like that. But I'm glad that, you overcame it.
Yeah, I definitely agree to an extent. But like she said, she could have been a little warned about what to expect.
Facts.
Because that is a lot. It's very overwhelming. It's a beautiful experience, but like you said, it can be a lot if you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing. And let's keep in mind, she was coming in with someone who was a leader of the community, so it was probably a whole lot more energy exchanged. So maybe if it's somebody that's just like, hey, this is what you can expect. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have some food. It's going to be some, praise and worship and things of that nature. I think someone might be okay coming on a feast day. But for her, coming with one of our leaders, that's like rolling in with the president.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you like, whoa, wait.
And let's be clear, I had no clue he was a Morey. I didn't even know what a Morey was.
Right.
I was just like, he's something. He was up there, hallelujah, and I was like, what's going on?
Right.
Okay, I'm out of my element, so, but yeah.
Okay, cool. So when a person first come in, you're saying that, especially if it's a husband-wife situation or soon-to-be husband and wife situation, if the wife is not integrated into that, he should sit down and explain certain things, especially when it comes down to feast days, if he's inviting you to a first feast day.
Well, I'll speak on that because it was my experience. I actually admired the way he did things with me.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, come here, you got to sit, you got to do X, Y, and Z. Like, he really took his time with me. The one thing, once I was truly introduced, he said, don't watch YouTube. So I got
Right.
to know COY for COY. So it
Got you.
wasn't me looking at what other camps were doing, what other people were dealing with.
Got you. Go ahead, continue on.
Oh, sorry. So I do like the way that, you know, it happened. So yeah, that's what I'll say.